Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new video on the channel. Today, we are going to talk about the origins and myths of centaurs. Before we get started with the video, don't forget to smash the like button, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's get started. Half-human, half-horse creatures known as centaurs lived in the woodlands of mainland Greece in Greek mythology. The Greeks viewed them as representations of the other, particularly in the case of Chiron, beings of heavenly intelligence or barbarian people. Despite the fact that Homer is the first author to mention a centaur, the depiction of them in art dates all the way back to the end of the Greek Dark Ages and the centaur of Lefkandi, or even further to the art of the great Eastern civilizations. In Greek mythology, centaurs. In Greek mythology, a race of half-human, half-horse creatures was known as the centaurs. They engaged in combat by swinging tree branches, hurling rocks, or, less frequently, using bows. Their history had an odd beginning. Ixion had feelings for Zeus's wife, Hera. Zeus used Nephele, a cloud, to take on Hera's appearance in order to reveal Ixion's passion for his wife. Ixion fell for the ruse and got married to Nephele. Their union produced Centaurs. A race of hybrid animals made up of both horses and humans was created when Centaurus mated with the Magnesian mares. The majority of the centaurs were brutes, more akin to barbarism than civilization. They were violent and enjoyed pillaging and raping. They made their homes in the Thessalian woodlands surrounding Mount Pelion. While centaurs with bull horns were rumored to reside in Cyprus, some others resided in Arcadia or possibly Epirus. Chiron was the most well-known centaur in Greek mythology. He was one of the wisest characters in Greek myth, and Homer referred to him as the most righteous of the centaur. He was the instructor of a number of Greek heroes and deities, including Achilles, Hercules, Perseus, Theseus, and others. Chiron was the child of Cronus and Philaera, and perhaps his unique parentage helped to explain why he stood out from the other centaurs. As composite creatures, centaurs, Greek art includes more hybrid monsters than centaurs. Satyrs, gorgons, sphinxes, and countless more composite creatures that mixed human and animal parts were too numerous. The Greeks had their own mythology, which included aspects from other worlds, like practically every other civilization. The Greeks used fantasy to explore and transcend the bounds of the natural world in an effort to comprehend and explain it. Images of composite centaur, like creatures, existed before the rise of Greek civilization. A centaur can be seen in at least one image from Bronze Age Ugarit. The certainty that this was a centaur image has been questioned, though. Other composite animals have also been found in the artwork of the Bronze Age Mycenaean and Minoan civilizations that flourished in the Aegean. These composite animals inexplicably vanished during the Greek Dark Ages. The time that came after the fall of Bronze Age civilization then reappeared during the Greek geometric time. Half-human, half-horse creatures, like the one in the aforementioned picture, first appeared around this time. All composite creatures in Greek art shared the trait of having their representations constantly altered up until around the 6th century BC. During this time, we can discover depictions of Typhon as a centaur, Gorgon centaurs, sphinxes with equestrian legs, and centaurs with human legs. Even though centaurs were made famous by the Greeks, other mythologies and cultures have also contributed to their iconography. The Greeks were not cut off from the rest of humanity. There were powerful kingdoms with illustrious histories and mythologies all around Greece. Greek culture was greatly affected by Egypt and the kingdoms of the Near and Middle East in every sphere, including architecture, art, and religion. It is no accident that the phase of Orientalization in archaic art exists. By the time Homer wrote his epics, the Aegean had already experienced conflict, trade, and immigration to the point that the Greeks could access pictures and tales from the East. Of course, the Greeks were active recipients rather than passive ones. These pictures and stimuli were absorbed by them, blended with their own, and used to create new original myths, stories, and artwork that contained pieces of the older one. Composite animals like the chimera and the sphinx were borrowed from Eastern cultures. Sometimes they underwent minimal modification, and other times they underwent none at all. Eastern animals like the human lion and human bull also resemble centaurs in terms of appearance, a figure with wings, A horse's body and a scorpion's tail can be clearly seen in an Assyrian cylinder seal from the 13th century BCE. This peculiar winged horseman is holding a bow. Another Assyrian cylinder seal from the 13th century BC contains an early representation of a centaur. Additionally, the person was wielding a bow, which was a symbol that would later become canonized and become the Sagittarius. Read the centaur's smile for further details on these Assyrian etched stones. With the exception of these Assyrian seals, the origins of the centaur can be found in Mesopotamia with the Urmalolu, a peculiar kind of lion. There are certainly other creatures with both human and animal bodies, but none resemble the centaur as it was depicted in Greek art and mythology. Another highly intriguing parallel is with the Indian masculine spirits known as Gandharva, who frequently appear as beings with a man's body and a horse's head. Could they share an Indo-European ancestry with centaurs and hence be connected to them? No is the most likely response. Even if the idea is immensely enticing, there is very little chance that there is a genuine connection with the Gandharva. Mycenaean and Minoan origin. The Greek Bronze Age, which lasted until the beginning of the Greek Dark Ages in the 12th century BC, was characterized by the prosperity of the Mycenaean and Minoan civilizations in the Aegean. Two clay Mycenaean figurines discovered in Ugarit make a strong argument for the centaur's Mycenaean ancestry. However, their authenticity cannot be confirmed. It is not surprising that Mycenaean artifacts were discovered there, given that Ugarit was a significant trading center in the Syrian region. Actually, the Mycenaeans were in frequent contact with the local inhabitants through trade, conflict, and travel. Ceramic votive figurines from sanctuaries in Crete and Cyprus from the 12th and 11th centuries BC are notable examples of centaur, like artifacts. But since they lacked hands, these things resembled sphinxes more than centaurs. Also mentioned are similarities to bronze statues found in Cretan temples. Ageliki Limbasi has made a more direct reference to a bronze sculpture from Philocope of Melos that dates to the 12th century. This figurine was only found in pieces, but Limbasi has suggested that it be rebuilt as a horseman. If this theory is true, this would be the first accurate depiction of a centaur in art. The Lefkandi centaur from the Greek Dark Ages, the first fully realized centaur in Greek art, is said to be the one from Lefkandi. What does complete mean, though? The concept of a centaur, a creature with a human head and upper body and a horse's body, was inspired by Greek mythology, despite the fact that the concept of human-horse hybrids was not created by the Greeks. The Lefkandi figure was found close to Euboea, a tiny village in the region. It is believed to have originated in the Greek Dark Ages, specifically the 10th century BC. Lefkandi is a significant archaeological site that, via its excavation, has shed light on the Greek Dark Age and the interactions between Greece and Egypt, Cyprus, Syria, and the Levant. The first full example of a centaur is the figure from Lefkandi. Its significance is so high that many manuals typically regard this as marking the start of Greek art. It is also important to note that there was no established Greek mythology at this time. It took another 2 centuries for Homer's epics to be preserved in writing. Greek mythology wasn't complete when the Lefkandi sculpture was created. During this time, myths were continually interacting with one another and evolving. As a result, stylistically speaking, we may say that the figure was a centaur, but it is risky to presume that its significance and symbolism were the same as they were in the 6th century BC. The Lefkandi Mysteries figurine. The discovery of the Lefkandi centaur is what interests me the most. It was found in 2 pieces in 2 separate but nearby burials. In one, the head was discovered, and in the other, the body's remaining contents. There are numerous theories as to why this occurred, but nobody has been able to provide a satisfactory solution. The centaur itself is a 36-centimeter tall porcelain sculpture. A piece this tall would undoubtedly be a rare sight and a truly significant symbol for its owner during a time when monumental sculpture in Greece had not yet evolved. Due to the shape of its knees, there's much discussion on whether the Lefkandi centaur's front legs are those of a human or a horse. Since there are a few examples of centaurs with human frontal legs in early Greek archaic art, both scenarios are equally plausible. That's a wrap on the video. I hope you liked it. If you did, let me know by giving it a thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.